Okay, I hope everybody hear me. Testing one, two, three. Okay, we're gonna start in about 5 minutes, so bear with me and we will start the show. All right, all right. Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Here's another transition in Mini Mix series. Yes, I'm wearing the shirt, and you can cop you one of these if you go to my storefront, which is in on I'm sorry, T Public. All you gotta do is go to tpublic.com/user/house that speaks hyphen designs, and you'll get you one of these shirts. And I'm also wearing the trucker's hat, but unfortunately, it only you can only display the speaks, and you don't see the house head. It's just two of the hats that I'm trying out to try to get the design to see which of my designs will coincide with the hat. But we're gonna get it together. But welcome everyone, and today I'm excited about this one because we're going to be talking about base swapping. Okay, I have used this method before, and I use it now. This is something that I recently discovered myself. I know a lot of DJs use this method when during their transitions and whatnot. And even though I'm probably late in the game, doesn't matter because when you are a DJ, you always learn. You always striving to learn, and you're always striving to evolve. So it's important to know that there's no such thing as you knowing everything, and that's in life. That's just not in DJing. That's in life. You're never too young, or you're definitely never too old to learn anything. You know, that's why it's always good to have two things: an open mind and a positive mental attitude. Okay, so what is swapping? Okay, I have looked at the wonderful world of Chat TBT, and this what it is. Now, I'm only going to read what is the actual method. I'm not going to read everything else that entails. I will post that on to the description box below so you can have the rest of the information. But what it says is, and I hope you guys can hear me because I'm just reading it off my notes that I have here. Let me make sure I move my mic a little further so you can really hear me. Okay, it says the bass swapping method is a DJ mixing technique used to smoothly transition between two tracks by alternating or swapping their bass frequencies, specifically the low end, typically kick and sub bass elements, to avoid clashing and to create a clean, powerful mix. Now, if whoever have heard my mixing before I started using bass swapping and and listening to my sets now will definitely know the difference because before I was not using bass swapping. I was using another method that I was learning from previous DJs and of course the DJ that taught me. So what I did was I joined this crew and I watched how they uh, approach transitioning by using bass swapping, and not only did I saw, I heard how clean they transitions were, how clean they blends were, how clean they approach the two tracks they were playing, and how little to minor adjustments they need to make once they did the bass swapping. Now, what I did was in the beginning of the show, you heard two. These are two of my favorite tracks, and if you have heard me play these tracks before, I play these tracks pretty much religiously. They're both by the producer by the name of Manu. One of them is called Freely, and the other one is called. Hold on, it's called yeah, Chromosome X. So I play these two tracks religiously because not only that they go well together as two tracks, but they transition so they're so unified when you transition them together. And it doesn't matter where you position them, it always sounds great. Of course, I can't play, and I've always say this in all my disclaimers, I try not to play too long as far as um, mixes and things of that nature for the sake of YouTube, because I know YouTube really try to ding you when it comes to copyrights and things of that nature. So I try to stay away from that. Now, what I'm going to be doing on this segment, I'm going to be jumping to different genres of house. I'm also probably going to do some tech house and some techno, you know, just to give you an idea that it doesn't matter what genre of underground music you play, the approach of bass swapping is still the same. You know, you just have to know to position where to position that second track while the first track is playing. Then, you know, make sure that you adjust your highs and your mids. And also, when you're about to get ready to bass swap, you make sure you're bass swapping your lows and you're doing it pretty much the opposite. Usually, when you start, your first track will be playing, your low will be on 12 o'clock, and your mid, I'm sorry, your low on your first track will be 12 o'clock, and then the low on the second track will be on kill. So it'll be on the left in this kill. What you're gonna do is, as you are making sure that you make sure that you beat matching those tracks together, and you always want to do that. Make sure you beat match before you start your bass swapping. Otherwise, it's going to sound, you know, the beats is not going to sound good, and it's not going to be in unison the way you want. So, and as you go, you're going to move the first track to the first track. You're going to move the first track and the second track, and you're going to keep moving it until they in the middle, which means they have to be at 9 o'clock. Now, once they at 9 o'clock, then you can start moving again and adjusting. So by the time you complete your bass swapping, the low on the second track should be at 12 o'clock, while the low on the first track should be on kill. So I will demonstrate how that sounds. I'm going to find a track here, with some tracks here. Let me see which one I'm going to use. Oh, okay. Let's go here. Well, yeah, yes. Let's go here. I'm going to play some classic Timmy. Let's do that. Okay, let me start with that one. Okay. Now I'm choosing these tracks at random. I'm not these not like set up like I usually have. And for the reason to do that is to make sure that it shouldn't matter what tracks you're selecting, you're going to have the same approach when you're doing your bass swapping, and you'll find out what I mean. So, okay, the first track is called Blind, and it's the Rampart remix, and the second track is called Vibration, and they're both edits by NYC DJ and producer Timmy Register. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn off I'm gonna go ahead and lower the volume, and let's get to it. You saw and heard what I did. Let me go back here. I just waited for the right moment to position the second track. And then after I positioned the track, and of course, made my adjustments on the jogs. And then I start moving both the high and the mid from, I would say, about from 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock. Then after that, that's when I start my swapping of the bass. And as you can hear you can hear that slowly the first track is slowly not being as dominant, and then the second track is getting up there, and then once I hit the middle, which was 9 o'clock, you can tell, you can listen to the smoothness of the track. Now sometimes it can be one or two of the tracks can be a little choppy, so you just make another adjustment on the jogs, and then you'll get that smoothness on there. Once you have that, then you can go ahead, and also I'm also moving my crossfader to right in the middle. That's how I usually do my bass swapping transitions. I slowly move the crossfader at the same time, moving both the low EQs. And then once I get to the middle, then I can go ahead. By the time I get to the middle of the crossfader, I should be right both low EQs from the first and the second track should be at 9 o'clock, and then I can just move counter move each other at the opposite direction. So like I said, by the time I am completed my transition, my second track will be at 12 o'clock, and then my first track will be killed. Okay. Or isolated. That's how some people call it, isolated or kill. Because you can set your EQ two different ways. You can set it at EQ, or you can set it at isolated. EQ means you just when you hit the low and you're going down, you can hear some of the music on the track on that EQ. When it's isolated and you hit it and it goes low, it's a full kill. That means you don't hear anything. And when I do my some of my effects, I use the low EQ for those effects. So I like to have my EQs isolated, so it can be a full kill. I hope everyone got the gist of that. Let me hold on for 1 second. Let me go ahead and get this back up to. There we go. Let me get back up to here. Oh, and also, if you notice, I have upgraded my DJ system. So what you're looking at now, let me show it to you. It's the Opus Quad by Pioneer. And this particular standalone it has the capability to use. You can use both Rekordbox and Serato, and you can use it either through the computer, through the software, or you can use it through three. You can use two. You can do the U. I have the USBs here, but in the back I can also use my SSDs, which when it has all my library, I can use that. I just got it, so I will wait until I take it to its paces. So I'm still learning this, and then I will tell you. Maybe I'll say about maybe a few months, probably sometime next year. I will do a I would do a rant segment on just, I probably will just do a Monday night rant segment, just a segment on just the Opus Quad, and just to let you know my thoughts about it, how what I like about it, what I kind of don't like about it, and will this particular standing low fits you as a DJ. Now, if you're new and upcoming DJ, I don't expect you to spend this kind of money on this because it cost me a pretty penny. But it was time for me to upgrade, and I wanted to get a standalone, and this is the one that I chose because I loved it. But if you're a new and upcoming DJ, I always suggest you to get a entry level controller, and there's a lot of them out there that is cost efficient, so it will not break your bank. Promise you on that. So enough of me chitting and chatting. I just wanted to show you that. Let me get to another mix I want to do. Here we go. Let me see. Yeah, let's see. Okay, I'm gonna do this one. Okay. I'm going to go with a Moose Tea mix. As you notice that I'm using some of my wait, hold on. Do I want to use that? Yeah. I'm using some of my two segments that I'm using as far as my USBs is I have one that has all my DJs and producers on one and genres on the other. So I'm going to be using both to so you can get the gist on the different tracks and styles you can do when it comes to bass swapping. So the first track is called Horny. It's the Scott Diaz Gospel Exertion. It's an old track, and it's also by Moose T. Also, I'm going to be used. Also, it's going to be mixed by If I Can Get Down. This is the Moose T version of this track, and it's of course by Moose T and Chicago DJ and producer Mike Dunn. So let me lower the volume, and let's get to it. Okay. Hope that gave you some ideas of it doesn't matter what tracks that you use. The bass swapping method is pretty cool and it's pretty fun to do as well because when I play and I listen to how I can manipulate both tracks and still have the same blending transitional effect, it just boggles my mind how you can do so many things when you're using this method. It's crazy. It's just crazy. Let me see. Now I'm going to let's see. Okay, what I'm gonna do here. Oh yeah. Now I'm gonna go with David Morales. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna go with one that I use all the time. Let's see. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. Now these two tracks, I mix a good number of times, especially when it comes to me doing Afro. If you know that most of my Afro sets will have these two tracks in it. Not all the time, but good. There's a good time. There's a possible chance you will have them. Okay. Now they both is the same name, so don't think that I'm playing two tracks that's exactly alike. No, they same names, but the tracks are different. The one is called One Race, and it's the Red Zone Mix, and the other one is called One Race, but it's the Red Zone Dub. Now, if you know the difference between a mix and a dub, you will know that the approach is different, and you will see why. So, I'm gonna go ahead and lower the volume, and we're gonna get to it. Now, as much as I want to continue with playing this, can't because of YouTube. But like I said, you get what you get, you're listening and you're getting what I am doing, right? Okay, like I said, when it comes to bass swapping, the first time you always want to make sure that when you're setting on your second track, when you're setting your second track, it's always your highs has to be at 11. Your highs and mids has to be at 11 o'clock, and your lows has to be down on kill. Okay, and then on the first track, your high, mid, and your low will be at 12 o'clock. That's always the beginning setup when you're doing your bass swapping, and you always do your bass swapping when you're using the lows. Now, I know DJs have done it using the highs and the mids as well, but but from what how I learned and by the sound and the muscle memory that I developed, I only use the low for my bass swapping. But like I always tell you, each DJ approach things differently. There's never been a one DJ that will approach um, a method exactly the same as the other. Like for instance, like I was saying before, I learned bass swapping by watching my crew members, which is Ron Tesley and Rose Red from the Red Lab. Shout out to them. And also Monday is Rose Red's birthday, so happy birthday and a shout out to her. So I watched them, how they approach, mixing and transition from how they approach doing the, you know, mixing using the crossfader, which I already did a segment of that. So if you go to my playlist here on Transition Series, you'll see that, and also how they approach bass swapping. Now I've done it differently. Now they do their approaches different. One doesn't do it like the other, just like I don't do it like the other. So again, each DJ approach things differently. Now, okay, now I'm gonna get out of the. I'm gonna get into the genres, cause let me go back here, cause now I want to. I want to do a sofa house. Yeah, I'm gonna do a sofa house. Let's see. No, I don't. No, I don't. No, I do not. I want to do a house. Let's see. Okay. Bear with me, everyone. Just trying to get things together here. Ah, here we go. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. So, okay, now I'm gonna get back here, and let's see, do another one. Okay. Okay. No. Huh. Wait a minute, I can't find it. Wait a minute. Oh, that's why. That's why. That's why. Oh, no. Okay. Now I'm going to play these two here. Okay, now, sorry about that. Okay, the first track is by both Louis Vega and Todd Terry, and it's called "Has Everybody Ever Loved Someone." The first time I heard this track, I fell madly in love with it. Had to get it because they took samples from an old disco song, and if you heard Dan Harmon's "Relight My Fire," you will know right off the bat where they got where the inspiration to this track came from. And then Todd Terry did a Alexander Technique remix of Todd Terry's classic "The Bangle." So I'm gonna go ahead and lower this volume, and we're gonna get to it. Whoa, it wasn't the track that I thought it was, but that's okay. That's okay. Sometimes those things happen that you're thinking that you've had one track and then it's end up being another track, but it still worked. And that's the key ingredient. It still works, and that's what it matters. Okay, I think I'm going to do one more before I may not do. Yeah, you know what? I was gonna do a mini mix, but since I don't have, I usually try to have new tracks to do a mini mix on. I probably won't be doing a mini mix this time, and I have another raid train that I'm doing later on today, so I definitely want to make sure I get everything prepared for that. I do apologize in advance for not having you know here we go, not having how I want it, but those things happen. Things do happen. Okay, so Now I'm going to yes. Now I'm gonna do two more. I'm gonna do I'm gonna do a techno, and I'm gonna do a tech house transition, so you can know how I approach that. Let's see. Oh, damn, it was techno. Okay. Let's see. Where is it? Ah, here it is. Now, when I play techno, let's see. I'm gonna do it at 128. I'm gonna move the RPM to 128. Now, when I approach techno, I 9 times out of 10, these two tracks is what I'm gonna play. I either play these in the beginning of my techno set or the end of my techno set, depending on how I'm gonna approach. Because sometimes I will play a combination of techno and tech house. So in this case, I am going to play this one. I'm gonna do a techno transition, and then the last one I'm gonna do is going to be a tech house transition, and then after that, that will be it. And like I said again, I apologize for not having a six mini mix together. I will have one ready for the next one. It's just that I'm still doing transitions, not because of the new system that I purchased. I also downloaded the Windows 7 and reorganized my entire playlists and folders. So I've already purchased USBs and another SSD. So that's gonna go into the new organized folder. I will still keep the current one because there's stuff that I have here that I still use and utilize. But I don't want to mix up everything that I hear into the new organization that I worked at least a couple of days to do. So I just want to let y'all know that. So the first track is called "Into the Dark" and it's by the Sanderson brothers. Okay, that's these are the sons of techno legend Derek Sanderson. I hope I'm saying his first name right. And then of course the second one is one of my favorite. People mix it, mistake it for a Latin track, but it's tagged as a techno track, but it can be a combination of both. It's called "Shut the Door," and it's by Louis Vega and of course the Martinez brothers. Now we're gonna lower the boom, and then we're gonna get to it.
Oye, justo, se le soltó el chivo a Pacheco otra vez. Me dijo Willy Colón. Carne de chivo, sopa de chivo, bistec de chivo, arroz con chivo. Soda de chivo.
Okay. Now, as you can see, I approach these two techno tracks the same exact way that I approach the other tracks that I played previously. So, like I said, when it comes to bass swapping, there is no difference. You know, you can't, there is no, well, I'm going to set one rule of thumb because I'm playing this genre, other than the different rule from, because I'm playing another different genre. It all can stems the same if you do a lot of practice and you know what you're looking for. Like I said, my suggestion if you want to learn the bass swapping method, go to any YouTube channel, type in a bass swapping method, and there's a ton of channels that will teach you. And also, if you have DJ friends or DJ colleagues that you can go to and tell them, look, I heard about this bass swapping thing from this cat House That Speaks, and I was wondering, can you show me how it's done? And I'm certain they'll be more than happy to oblige you. Now, like I said, I'm going to do this last one, and it's gonna be Tech House. Wait a minute. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Okay. Now I'm gonna do Tech House, and okay, I'm gonna do this one here. Ah, that's my favorite. Then let's see. Where's my cha-cha? You know what? Let me go to the menu. Oh, where is it? Bloody heck! Bear with me, folks. I'm trying to look for a track. I think this. Yeah, I think this is it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Whew, sorry about that. Okay. Um, so these gonna be the last two tracks that I'm gonna be playing. Okay, the first one is called "String Things" by Shadow Child. This track is like a hybrid. It's a track. It's a jacking track, and it's also can be a techno house track. There are certain tracks, for some reason, producers decide to hibernate together so you can use one track with and playing on two different genres. I have mixed this track in with either a jacking house track or a tech house track. This time I'm doing it with tech house, and I'm gonna do it with Cha Cha by Cured, and I love playing this particular track. That's why I chose this one. So we're going to turn the volume, and we're gonna get to it. Okay. I hope everyone got the gist of how I approach um, doing my transitions using the base swapping method. Again, I will post all the information that I gathered regarding the base swapping method in the description box below. Also, if you're new to the channel, please like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you can know when I'm going to be coming up with another transition mix mini mix series. Again, I apologize for not having a mini mix for you guys, but like I said, I just implementing this new DJ system. So once I get everything squared away, and I should have everything squared away by next month, you will definitely have the mini mix and definitely will be focusing on a different genre. So, um, go to any of my socials. Just search me under House That Speaks. You can follow me on IG, uh, YouTube, of course, Twitch, which I will be doing a techno and tech house raid train. Um, and my set is at 3 p.m. Central Time. That's 4 p.m. Eastern Time. For those who would like to come in and check me out and chat with me, and or just say hi, or if you're lurking and working, you just want to listen to some music, just go ahead and go to the channel, and I'll play some and I'll have some tunes for you. Okay, that's gonna be it for me. This is House It Speaks, everyone. Signing off. Enjoying the rest of your Saturday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And as always, peace and love.